returning now to Trump's tariffs, in particular those imposed on steel and aluminium today, I'm joined by Labour's Liam Byrne, who's chair of the House of Commons Business and Trade Committee, and the Belgian MEP Kathleen Van Bremt, who's vice chair of the European Parliament's International Trade Committee. Can I just begin with you? Explain why Europe feels the need to retaliate.
Well, let me first say that it's Trump that is starting this trade war, and it's not the first time he did that when he was in office for the first time. And we then also retaliated, and we decided to do so at this stage. We strongly believe that we first have to react, make sure that the Trump administration knows that a very powerful European internal market let themselves not be bullied. But we are open for negotiations, and we did that before. Trade Commissioner Šefčovič went to the United States to start negotiations, but they were absolutely not interested. So we now retaliate and then see how possible negotiations can go on.
Okay, Liam Byrne, why is Britain just sucking it up then?
Well, there's two big differences now between Britain and the EU. One, our market power is obviously much lighter than the great power that the EU is able to bring to bear. But the second big difference is that our trade with the United States is roughly in balance. And so this is, really unfortunate opening shots in the beginning of a trade war. It's going to lead to much more expensive British steel in America, £100 million more in extra bills for American consumers. That's going to, in particular, hit the American military, who are some of the biggest customers of, for example, the steel made by Sheffield Forgemasters. But I think Keir Starmer is right not to kind of dance to the tune of the day, if you like. Just it does need some cool heads now in the UK, and perhaps a strategic approach where we say, look, if we can get these tariffs taken down through the negotiation of a broader trade agreement, that is obviously in our interest, while reserving the right to retaliate in a targeted way if that situation fails. And then crucially, we've obviously got to redouble the defences of our own domestic steel companies.
I mean, it looks like you're just sacrificing the British steel industry for wider geopolitics. I mean, you saw that British steel boss earlier saying they want retaliatory tariffs and it's the only way they'll survive.
Of course, but as I say, I mean, I don't think it's the right strategy for the British government to dance to the tune of the day. I mean, I think we should be trying to take down these tariffs strategically as part of a bigger trade agreement. It's quite possible that that is doable because we have got more balanced trade with the United States than Europe. But look, we've absolutely got to reserve the right for retaliatory tariffs, and we may need to adjust quotas to protect the UK market from a surge of, say, Chinese steel, which is displaced from the US market. So, look, I think the UK government is right to keep all options on the table, but it's important that we just now work this through quickly, forensically, but strategically.
Kathleen Van Bremt, do you feel like you're just dancing to the tune of the day set by Donald Trump, as Liam Byrne characterises it?
Well, let me first say that I have no problem with the stance of the UK as it is today. There is a big difference between the UK and the big European internal markets. That's for once. But what we have to do, I don't understand Trump at all in his approach as it is today. We have to stick very closely with the UK and with Canada, and also possible with Latin America, and find a common approach. That doesn't mean the same sort of tariffs or the same retaliation, but find a common approach. Secondly, the biggest problem for our steel industry today is, of course, the dumping of cheap Chinese steel that is responsible for the overproduction on the one hand, but also the fact that it is so cheap is because it's over-subsidized as well. In a normal world and a normal administration in the United States, we would be facing this together and have the same measures towards China. That would be a fair way to approach this. But okay, that's not the case, and Europe will pursue its own measures. And I keep on saying we are open for the dialogue with the United States, but on an equal level playing field on the one hand.
And if he retaliates, as he's suggesting he will Europe up its own retaliatory tariffs? I mean, is this war just going to escalate?
Well, we will do whatever it takes to de-escalate, but we will not let ourselves be bullied. That's one. Second, the European Union also has other options than retaliate only by tariffs. We can also look into intellectual property right issues. We can also look into issues related to the tech giants and their impact on our democracies. So we have a wide range, and we will pick and choose what has the best effect on the Trump administration, as we also look when it comes to measures to hit in very particularity.
Byrne, just finally, I mean, if the steel industry in Britain gets into trouble, you agree it would be wholly wrong for the taxpayer to have to pick up the cost of Trump's tariffs, I presume? You know, do you not worry that the voter who is increasingly sceptical about Trump, people were furious about the way he treated Zelensky, are going to start expecting you to stand up to him at some point in time?
Absolutely, but I don't think retaliatory tariffs are necessarily going to deliver that. I mean, it's absolutely right. The bigger problem that the steel industry has got is huge overcapacity in China. And so us joining together with the European Union in what's called the Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism is one of the big moves that we can make over the next year or two. If that reset brings us together on this, that can actually provide a common UK and European defence against some of the over-subsidised Chinese carbon. But look, we just don't have the same kind of tools at our disposal that the European Union has. The European Union, because of its market power, has a cudgel. The UK has got a kind of stiletto. And we've got to sort of use both of those instruments in parallel, in tandem, in coordination, in order to try and get President Trump to take those tariff barriers down. This is bad for America. It's bad for American consumers. It's bad for American workers. It's bad for the global economy. There is a shared interest in getting President Trump to take this down, not least because, of course, when our economy shrinks, that means that there is less budget available to step up defence spending, which is exactly what President Trump would like us to do.
Liam Byrne, Kathleen Van Bremt, thank you both very much.